Hi, Monsoon here. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some high-level modded gameplay that I did, trying to analyze it, see what I did wrong, see what I did right, and also talk about the new Season 5 enemy, it's the Stalker. Well, it's not exactly new, but I'll get into it. So this video, like the gameplay we have right here, it's me and Cass doing a duo Diablo 2 mining. I'm on NG and she's on Driller, which actually is pretty rare because I usually I main Driller and she mains NG, so we're both like off-classing here just for a little bit of fun. So right here, since we're only doing a duo, we don't have anybody else, so I mine a Nitro here. And yeah, so in high-level modded gameplay, pacing is very important, especially in Diablo 2, which is a difficulty that highly emphasizes your speed at pushing into the caves, because if you don't push as fast, then you run out of Nitro and you die. I'm also running a Executioner. The build can be seen on the little corner. I have a mod that lets you see it. I'm running Executioner 11111, and also a pretty classic setup, except for my Executioner is running actually tier 5A instead of tier 5B, which is a mod that sacrifices around 5% of total damage, but gives you some more utility in terms of that electrical effect. It's right here, kind of a messy start here. We're just trying to take care of the breeders and stuff. Cass calls out to me to drill down. We were in comps at the time, and different breach angle. And right here we found the dirt, so and the nitro right there. So I think, oh yeah, right here, Cass wanted to hold right here. I wanted to go through, and let's see what happens. Well, she gets leeched. Oh, by the way, in this difficulty, you get silent leeches, because, team play. In short, leeches are there to encourage teams to push into caves together and to cover each other. So, in this difficulty, the creator, actually opted to remove leech sounds and make them resistant to lead bursters entirely, to kind of motivate people to stick together more. And yeah, it helps. Like right here, we clear out the first cave, stuck together, so even if both of us got leeched that one, the other person can save him. So that's pretty good. We'll get to the stalker parts of it in a bit, so don't worry. There'll be plenty of that, if I remember correctly. So here we push through the first cave. We got a lot of Terra, just using my breach cutter, and there we go. That's our first stalker encounter. Now, if you haven't noticed, that didn't make any sound, and it did my entire health bar, which strongly suggests that they're a very fair and balanced enemy. The stalker you kill on me actually eventually lead to me downing right here, and then yeah, it's not very good. So one of the biggest things about the new Stalker is that, well, it sneaks up from you, it's invisible, and deals a lot of damage. But, unfortunately, it's not done very well. Yeah, see right here, I'm gonna be able to get health, and then I managed to try to stabilize the situation right here. But yeah, Stalkers, they are kind of just unreasonable in the new update. Well, when they're added, because first of all, they're invisible. They're completely invisible. There's no way for you to spot them without staring very hard at the cave. In modded play, you don't really have a lot of chances for that. And additionally, they have a new attack, which is like a charge attack that doesn't really have an animation, but sometimes when they unbarrel and you just shoot them, they take damage. And what they do is they just kind of charge at you and still hit you, and sometimes they even hit you after they die, which is, frankly, it's pretty unreasonable. Right here, you can see me and Cass are struggling a little bit to stabilize the situation with the variety of disruptives. Right here, she actually decides to iron well, so that we could not die to nitrous starvation, so we can quickly mop up the remaining enemies. But yeah, Stalkers, I do appreciate the adding a sound cue, which is pretty nice. However, the sound cue doesn't really indicate when it attacks. It actually just tells you when it unburrows. And like when it unburrows, like sometimes it's still invisible when that happens. So like it's not as useful as it should be, basically. Additionally, Stalkers also disable your shield for 5 seconds. And not just all, Stalkers also apply a very blinding visual effect on your screen. Disables the entire shield bar, deals around 80 damage to you in Hazard 6 gaming. And it also kind of just slows you for a couple seconds too, because it's electrical based, and electricity slows, just like when you apply it to enemies, which is honestly, if it didn't deal that much damage and actually had a reasonable attack windup before, like everything would be fine. No, like as long as it had an attack windup and can be interrupted, it would be fine. But here's the thing, when they were added into the game, stage there, when they were added into the game, besides being electrically, like resistant to electricity, they're also resistant to melee damage. No, fuck, they're resistant to stun, actually. Which they actually don't tell you if you open the minus menu, it doesn't even say it in there, but yes, they're resistant to stun. Which is actually horrible, because a lot of classes, well, like, for example, are classes like, let's see, like, Engineer's Breach Cutter has, like, apply stun on one of modders, which is pretty often picked in modded play. And if you can't really consistently stun it, the only way is for you to kill the enemy, and there's not really, like, that many ways to counter, per se. So yeah, that's pretty bad. It also interacts badly with the Driller's axis. Because, you know, it's supposed to stun, and now it doesn't, which sucks. Tons of other weapons also stun. I'm just not gonna go through naming, but like, the stun immunity is very bullshit. It's just terrible to play around. And, like, on top of all that, the vulnerability they get in the Stalkers have is actually melee vulnerable, which is a very odd choice by design, because the Stalker is supposed to be an enemy that sneaks up from you, like to you, like right there, but like, it's vulnerable to melee, so it encourages people to power attack it, but at that range, the Stalkers is also its most dangerous. Like right there, where's the visual cue? There is no visual cue. Yeah, it encourages people to power attack it, which is actually not, like, typically you want to play like away from the Stalker and kill it before it approaches you, which is, like, giving it melee resistance is encouraging people to do something that they shouldn't, which is pretty bad if you... Yeah. And additionally, Stalkers also kind of, you know, they tweak their spawn mechanics, so they just spawn blitzes. Yeah, I get leeched here, because I very negligent. Cast Stress is quite a Cast Stress to save me. Didn't go well, unfortunately. But yeah, Stalkers, they spawn with the Swarm, and like, they just creep up to you with other bugs, which is really hard to spawn. And this also creates a problem, which in modded play, when Driller is supposed to be taking care of most of the common bugs, the Stalker either usually dies alongside the grunts, or reaches to you. This just creates a problem where Stalkers feels very inconsistent, because a lot of times you won't even see the Stalkers you kill, and the other times they just crawl up to you without any warning, and then you die. Yeah, that's basically how I feel about Stalkers. They're just inconsistent and not fun to play around. A lot of modded difficulties already opt to be like just adding a descriptor that makes Stalkers stun. I mean, well, not that disables the stun immunity of Stalkers, so they can actually be stunned, which makes them more fair to play around. And some difficulties even opt to like use the beta Stalkers, which is the Stalkers that were found in the game a while back, where like the modded community used them in our difficulties before. Beta Stalkers were fine, because back then they have very unique spawn mechanics where they spawn apart from the Swarm, and they like creep up from like angles you don't expect, so they reward you for being attentive and punishes you for like inattention, basically, which is, in my opinion, what the Stalkers supposed to do. But yeah, Stalkers aside, let's take a look at the gameplay. Right here, both me and Cass's Iron Will has been used, but we're making fairly good paces to the Stalker right here. My primary is entirely useless against Stalkers because you can't lock onto them while invisible, which is as if the stubby isn't better good enough as it is, honestly. Because if you're unfamiliar, stubby's probably like compared to the Lock 1 Smart Rifle, stubby's just a much safer option. And now with Stalkers being in play like that, when Lock 1 can't even lock onto Stalkers at all, and there's gonna be more, you're gonna see more of the stubby, I guess. Personally, I'm a pretty big Lock 1 enjoyer, so not too happy to see that, honestly. Especially after the last patch where stubby got like a huge buff, and now it's considered to be like on par with the low-key Lock 1. I don't really think it needs more advantages as it gets. Although in like top level modded play, the Lock 1 still sees more usage just because like with the proper team support it just straight up outshines the stubby at longer ranges. But yeah. Okay. So right here we're pushing into the cave. When you're pushing with like not a full team, especially when you can't see the ceiling and doesn't have very good visibility, you're gonna stick close to the edges of a cave. Like right here, we're like rotating along the right side, taking out like stationaries we see on the way. And now we found the dirt, and we just like go through. I'm pretty sure right here we just ignore this cave altogether and try to like gamble on the fact that we're gonna have enough more capability to push this later. Let's see. Yep, looks like it. You can also see me using dash, kind of like just doing big face in videos. I'm working on like a mission breakdown video in the future. I have the script done. I'm just like trying to get enough motivation to actually bump out a video, but well, the key moments is just like learning to just push aggressively as possible without compromising on safety, of course. Like right here, we're even just ignoring the enemies just to like head to the next cave because nitro and ammo is important. Yep. Right here I kind of overextended a little bit, so, and there's bugs right behind me right here, as you can see. Kind of just like went forward, tried to like jump away from all the swarmers and stuff. I was so lucky to not get hit there by the barrage here. Don't know how that happened, but yeah. So right here we kind of like stop for a little bit. I think we're calling a reset. Yeah, like right here I'm building turrets, and you see the bulk. If you don't know what the platforms are there for, they're repellent platforms. Basically, the tier 3 mod on the platform gun allows you to change bug pathing. Most importantly, grounded bug pathing, which saves your driller a lot of work because the driller now only has to focus on coverage on the ground, which is super convenient, which is why you can see me putting up platforms whenever we're like stopping at a location. And also, one of the things we learned, me and Cass here from this duo, is that we don't really have a very good bulk damage or solution for that matter. Like, all we're doing here is we're just shooting it, trying to like dump everything that we have. If we had a gunner right here, or if one of our sport gunner, it would have been much easier because we could just use like tools like volatile bullets and lead bursters. And here I decided to throw because I thought it was funny to build turrets. Please believe me. I'm not a bad player, I promise. But yeah, like, Driller and NG is definitely not first choice in terms of like duos, but we're making it work because partially because you know we wanted a challenge and we thought it would be fun. Yeah. So let's see right here. So we got a swarm. Pushing near the corner is generally a pretty last resort idea, unless you're like desperately needing ammo. So right here we're just kind of decided to like fall back to where my turrets were and try to like fight this one here. Unfortunately we were a bit late and then like the bugs already spawned here. If you're not aware of DRG spawn mechanics, basically picks places where bugs will spawn, and during a swarm, bugs would continuously spawn the same place. And right here, you can see the bugs spawning on top of us, which is a bit annoying, but we managed. Do you have to mention that since I'm using the breach cutter, like, it's very advantageous for me to be holding like down long and flat sidelines like these, because I could be getting a ton of value from just hitting off enemies. You can see right here, I kind of actually hesitated to get close to the stalker because I was definitely a possibility where like you just get hit. See right here, look at that breach value. Yeah, look at. Right here, and another thing about playing engineer that I've beginning to learn recently is that you don't really have to be shooting at everything. Once you like learn how to like confidently dance around bugs, especially like the common enemies, and then just trusting your teammates that they'll get killed eventually, engineer actually becomes a lot of fun because, you know, you can see like I'm only like using ammo, especially from my breach cutter when I really need to, and you actually have a lot of freedom if you play that way. Obviously, when you're starting out, like movement, as in like it's not going to be as you're not going to have like super good movements, and wasting ammo just to guarantee on safety so you don't die is fine. But when you can kind of flex around, do that because, you know, divisional labor is good for teamwork and also for ammo control. Just like right here, I get spitballered because I was inattentive. I don't know how I dodged that, but thankfully I take out the spitballer before it's too late, which is good. So me and Cass look right here, and we both pretty sure this is last cave. By last cave I mean we can see like this couple more type things in the room, and we don't see any dirt, which just signifies, you know, the exit to like, or the entrance to another cave. So we don't have that, so both just, you know. So then right here is where Stalkers are so bullshit, because Cass gets hit for over half her health bar and her entire shield. And even though I killed the Stalker right as he hit the murder, yeah, it's pretty tragic. So right here, it's the end of the mission. We have sufficient nitro for another reset, so we can like kind of like screw around a bit. Yeah. So right here, we just both decided that we should go back to the previous reset on a meal and then try to like grab a reset while we deposit it, which is what I do here. And also because killing the bulk is a pretty huge time waste, and like we could pretty much just confidently outrun it at this point. So right here we deposit and we start to leave. Yup. But yeah, that's Diablo 2. If you're unsure, Diablo 2 is a difficulty that I'm pretty sure is made by the brain, and it's supposed to be a successor of Diablo 1, which is a very high variant, well not high, but like high disruptive count difficulty that features like that stresses like clean and streamlined gameplay, very aggressive, but like aggressive but coordinated teamwork, as well as an emphasis on just pacing. Yeah. So right here, I know a lot of modded players these days like to just like run back straight to the drop pod, but we just kind of wanted to win because we gave it a few attempts, and I think we're both pretty tired on that day, so we just decided to call it a day by using the tunnel strategy. If you're not familiar with modded play, you might like be wondering why people don't use these tunnel and bunker strategies more. And the answer is that we try to deliberately avoid them because sometimes they can be quite oppressive and overpowered, and kind of removes the fun from the game, which is part of it. It's like your positioning, and part of it it's like your mechanics, which is like what you're shooting at. And part of it is obviously game sense. Mechanics is like how you're like jumping around, like you're dodging projectiles and melee hits. And the game sense is like what are you shooting at? Like game sense. But yeah, like if you make bunkers for every swarm that you pretty fight. You kind of like removes all that aspect while you're just at a tunnel and then shoot down the tunnel. Obviously, I'm not super opposed. Right here, I get super jump scared. Yeah, but I'm not super opposed to bunkers. But personally, me and Gas, we opt to jump. And yeah, right here, pretty smooth landing. Cast the lady exit to the drop pod because we wanted to make sure the pod's open before we step out because we don't have like more bugs spawning on us. But yeah, that's a pretty smooth mission. Thanks for watching. This video is a little bit scuffed because I had the idea in the middle of the night. But if you have any ideas about other DRG topics I should talk about, leave a comment. I'll make sure to read it.